In this video, I'm going to dehydrate some of these Martino's Roma tomatoes and also try to make some snacks out of the Principe tomatoes that we usually dehydrate. So we grow, well, anyhow, we start out with my wife and I are sharing the kitchen this morning. She's making a pot of sauce and I'm making, dehydrating tomatoes, so I'm pretty much shoved over in the corner here with the coffee pot. I got the dehydrator and my racks and everything, and last night I picked a batch of these Roma tomatoes. We plant these Martino's Romas because they do good for us and they're always very productive, and they also have fewer seeds than the normal Romas, and they're drier flesh, I think. So we've had good luck with them, so I decided normally we dry them in halves, but it takes forever to dry them, and they're kind of rubbery when they come back and stuff, so decided to try slicing them. And what I did is I took and sliced a batch of them up about between 3/16 and 1/4 of an inch thick to dehydrate and turn into slices. I figured they'd dry a little better and faster like this. So I sliced up enough for a rack here, and I'm just gonna arrange them on the grills for the dehydrator. Now, you really want to make sure that you have these plastic dehydrating screens when you're doing tomatoes like this, and I'll show you why later. But there's the first rack of them all sliced up and ready to go in the dehydrator. And then it's just it's kind of like rack after rack of them until I get most of the trays filled. I still had 4 trays left that when I got done and used up all the aromas. I didn't really have any more that were quite ripe enough to pick today, so I'll have to wait a couple days to do more. Now, in the meantime, that noise you hear in the background is actually my wife cranking that thing to get the seeds out of her sauce she's making. And then I ran out of the aromas, and I decided to do some of the Amish paste slices too. I decided to try some of these bigger tomato slices just because we like the pizza margaritas, and I think these would really work good. And then I went to some bigger Bonnie's Best tomatoes also to slice. They're a nice firm tomato that doesn't have a whole lot of seeds in it, and they're not too juicy for dehydrating. So I started putting some of them on the trays, and there's another tray of them, and then the last tray I actually threw on a black brandy wine also to try. And then for the final tray, I had some of these German lunchbox tomatoes, and also some of the Principe tomatoes that I sliced up thin like that, and I'm putting the crazy salt on them, like the snacks that I make out of zucchini. And I have to tell you, these things are just amazing. I've never done this before, never tried eating them, like this before, and they just came out crispy and just so flavorful. But there is the dehydrator's full, so I'm going to start it up, and I've got to set it for, I figured 24 hours, but this will only go up to 23 hours and 55 minutes, so I set it for that. And actually it turned out that it took 21 hours just about exactly until they were completely dry and ready to go. Having a house closed up with the air conditioning on and the dehydrator running tomatoes and my wife cooking sauce, it's unbelievable how smelly it is in here. It smells just like a Italian restaurant. But here we are next morning, 21 hours later. You can see they're really nice, dry, no more moisture left in them. They all look good, ready to come out of the thing. So I'm just going to let the trays cool down for 5 minutes here, shut down the dehydrator, and just let it get cool enough so I can handle them easily. And then it's time to just start removing the trays. And this is why you need those plastic liners when you do tomatoes. You can actually bend the liner there and pop the tomatoes off. Now, they do have a habit of sticking to the actual tray, the metal racks themselves, and being a pain to get off, and it does take a long time if you don't use these little plastic trays here. But there you can see, you can just bend these a little bit and they pop right off, and things are definitely nice, dry, and it really did come out nice. So I think this is really a good way to dry them up, and to actually be able to pack the dehydrator full. When you slice them in half, you have to skip every other rack, and it can take up to 2 days to get like the aromas dry completely, because they start curling in on themselves and holding the moisture in. So this actually seems like a good way to do it, and they, really, it's unbelievable the flavor they have. They're really, you can eat them like this. They're really good. So there they are, and then I'm gonna, get them all off of there. And you can see they really came out nice. So those are the Roma tomatoes there, and then it's time to pull the big ones off. And I just can't wait to try these this winter on a pizza margarita. I think you can rehydrate them and they'll be amazing. I was just looking at these, and I was also thinking I'd love to make a tabletop by encasing some of these in epoxy. I think that would be just so cool. Maybe someday I'll try that if I live long enough. But you can see they come off there basically, perfectly dry, and really, they did come out nice. I was pretty amazed. I had never tried whole slices like this before. And the black the black brandy wine actually look just like beets when they come off of there. And they also really have amazing flavor. And then those are my snacks that I made, and I tell you, when you chew on one of them, it's like putting a whole bushel of tomatoes in your mouth at one time. It's just a rush of flavor that you would not believe. They are really good. So with everything out of the dehydrator now, I'm going to just divide them up into Ziploc bags. I'm going to put all these Romas in one bag, and I always like to just let them just sit for a couple hours to equalize in a sealed bag like that. So there's my 3 different tomatoes equalizing. And then a couple hours later, I'm going to go back and start, vacuum packing them away. Now these snacks here, I decided to put in a mason jar because I'm going to be eating them as I go along. And, I just like to be able to remove the top, take a handful out, and then seal the top again. So that's what I'm going to do with these. And then, it's like these other ones, I'm going to put them in bags. And I'm actually using these pint bags from that Avid Armor company. And I've been real happy with the bags. They've worked good for me. And what I do is I like this size bag because it holds just enough for one serving, I'm gonna call it. Like I'm gonna put enough on there to make like one pizza with when we rehydrate them. So these 6x10 bags seem to be the perfect size for all my dehydrated things. So over to that new food saver, and it really has been working good. I've done well over 100 bags with it so far, no problems at all. Does the canisters good. It actually has more vacuum than my last food saver, but it is slow, I will give it that. The canisters vacuum down pretty quick, I find, and this is all real time that I'm doing with the sealing and vacuuming. And you can see the really good vacuum pack. That's not too slow there. That goes pretty quick for the jars, but when it comes to sealing, it's a little bit slower. So you just have to make sure that you get that bag about centered in that green vacuum area, and pull it flat, stretch it across the seal so there's no wrinkles in it or anything. Hit the button and let it go. And this is where you can see that the vacuum part is not too bad. It pulls down really good, but then the sealing time is it's rather slow. But I'm finding if I just walk away and let it get done, you get used to it. But I will say that so far every seal that I've gotten is a perfect seal out of this unit, and they're all nice, really nice, clear, and wide. So I'm happy with it. It like I said, it's not fast, but it does work reliably, and no problems. It's not finicky or anything like that. So put the bag in flat, lock it down, hit the button, and you can just walk away then. So I got the large tomatoes sealed up here now just to try. I only did 2 bags of them, but now I'm going to go back and do the sliced Romas. I'm going to take that one larger bag there, and I wound up dividing it up into 7 of these pint-sized bags. They're just, like I said before, they're just the right size when my wife wants to do a pasta dish or she wants to stuff some chicken breast or stuff. Just open one bag up and, it's a perfect size. So there they are, and these are the bags I've been using, the Avid Armors, and I've had no problems with them. Just make sure the waffle side is down when you put them in. They're stretched flat, and that they're centered in that green chamber in there. And every one of them gets a perfect seal. And again, this is real time of how long it does take to seal them. So, you can see it's not the fastest sealer in the world, but it's reliable. So, and then after sealing a couple of them, I realized normally what I used to do is I'd wait till the end and I'd get all the bags sealed, and then I'd pile them up and I'd get my Sharpie out and start marking the contents. But what I found out was that if I take and I just start one bag and then I go back and I start writing on the last bag what's in it, it usually turns out about the same time. The next one will be done when I'm done labeling it. So that does work out pretty good if you do it that way. It does save some time in the end. And there you can see another bag is going. So everything's all sealed up and ready to go down in the root cellar now. And like I said, these snacks really are pretty amazing, but you really have to like tomato flavor to enjoy them. And then this morning I went out to pick some regular peppers to get in the freezer for stuffing during the winter. So I got them all washed up, cleaned up, and then cored out, and they're ready to go down and flash freeze before I vacuum pack them. So I just thought I'd share this. It's a different way of dehydrating these Romas, and it does cut down the time a lot, and they seem to come out really good and nice and crispy and everything, and it looks like it's going to work. Time to go out in the backyard and do another rain dance because it's just so dry around here. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.